Hi there, my name is Vince. This is my beautiful boat Willow. Willow is a Dyna 53, built in Taiwan in 1988, and is powered by two Detroit 450 horsepower turbo diesel engines. Boat maintenance is always something that's ongoing, and there's never a dull moment when you own a cruiser. The boat is maintained by my very good friend Boyong and myself as much as we can. But I do have, unfortunately, a little bit of a problem which has bugged me since I've had the boat for 3 years. The problem is under the floor, down behind the port engine, where the port fuel tank lies, and right down there is a little puddle of diesel caused by a leak from the port fuel tank. The problem is that it's completely and utterly inaccessible. You can't get into the tank from the side, the bottom, the top or the front. You can see behind the engines, and you can get some access to the top of the two fuel tanks through the floor. You'll see here the starboard fuel tank and the port fuel tank with the diesel filler and the vent. Also, it has the diesel fuel feed line to the port engine and the diesel return line from the port engine. Built into that little hatch is a transducer for the fuel sender with a couple of wires on. I think the only way we're going to be able to fix this leak is by getting inside the tank. So I need to take out the fuel sender and now think about having a look around inside just to see what we can find. This gives you some idea of how deep the tank is, around about 28 inches deep. We need to have a look inside, so I've got a little LED light there which I can rig up to put inside the fuel tank, and I've used one of these little devices called an endoscope. Very cheap, you can buy them, attach onto your phone, and you can use them for looking inside things. They're waterproof, diesel proof, and very handy for having a look around corners and in nooks and crannies. Attaching a piece of old coat hanger wire to it also helps as you look around. The tank's got about 80 gallons of fuel in it, so I need to transfer that with a hand pump to the starboard tank just to get that completely empty. Once we've done that, we decided we were going to vent the fuel tank, so we'll put the vacuum cleaner in the port diesel filler and suck air through the tank via the transducer fuel sender hole. Now, in order to do the surgery on this tank, we're going to have to access the tank from the back. It's down there, just behind this cupboard wall. So we measured out where we thought the cut should go, because we need to remove a panel in this 1/2 inch plywood. This we did quite simply using a jigsaw. This revealed the back of the tank. Looked in good condition. It's pretty solid. You can see it's made in 1988, 225 gallons, and it's 4mm thick mild steel. There are no other hatches in the tank, so we're going to have to cut into it. I didn't want to use anything too abrasive, so we used a fine metal cutting jigsaw blade combined with some copper grease to cool the blade, lubricate the blade, and also ensure there were no sparks, as we didn't want to do that, but we kept the tank ventilated at all times. Once we opened the tank up, we knew there would be some baffles inside, but we weren't quite prepared for what we saw. There were about 7 baffles inside, so we decided to cut another hole which was bigger in the tank so that we could have a much better view of what was going on inside. We knew also that we'd have to cut these baffles away because we couldn't access the corners of the tank that we wanted to. Fuel was pretty dirty, some dirty old sludge in the bottom there, so we sucked all that out. Cleaned the tank with the degreaser, water. Finally cut away 3 of the 7 baffles inside. This allowed us really good access into the tank, right down into the far corners. This corner was where we thought the leak was, on the far left hand side up against the hull, and we were very pleased to see that the tank steel was in very good condition with no real rust whatsoever, with just maybe a couple of little bits in the corner. Boyong decided he was going to try and get in the tank, and he failed miserably. Wow. Anyway, after that amusing interlude, we decided we'd have to go in head first in future. So we started to look inside the tank. We cleaned it, we dried it, and we just now needed to start scraping off a little bit of the scale and any rust that we thought we might find inside the tank. For this, we used a rotary drill and a wire brush. A little bit messy. We had safety equipment obviously, and used a vacuum cleaner to keep the dust down. We decided we wanted to use metal prep, to use PR15 metal prep to make sure that we could neutralise the rust. This you put on, leave for about half an hour, and then just rinse off with water. So we did that, dried the tank out, ready for the final preparations. We left the tank overnight and were quite surprised to find that there were a couple of damp patches in a couple of the corners, right where we thought the leaks were. We realised that what was happening was capillary action was sucking diesel back from the wet beam underneath into the tank, so we now knew exactly where the leaks were, and there were 2 or 3 small pinholes up in this corner of the tank. So how are we going to fix this? Well, we decided that welding was not really an option. It lay on a diesel soaked beam, so we didn't want to cause any fire. So we decided that we would use fiberglass, resin, matting and tape throughout. Diesel doesn't damage fiberglass, so we knew that as long as we put a lot of fiberglass along all the edges, it would seal up any holes that might be there or would indeed possibly occur in the future. We decided to use PR15 fuel tank sealer to really sort out the inside totally. Customer services were brilliant. They said that it would work on the fiberglass repair that we'd done as long as we roughened it up, which is what we did. But the instruction did say about sloshing it around in the tank and turning the tank upside down, which is quite difficult to do in a 25-ton boat. So the easiest way to do that was to use a brush. We painted it on using a POR15 and again a vacuum cleaner to suck out some of the fumes. POR15 dries very quickly. It dries to a grey shiny finish. It's quite quick to dry. It's dried to the touch in just a few hours, but overnight it dries solid to a nice glossy, hard, impenetrable finish. So we let this dry for about 24 hours. We had a little bit more in the can, so we gave it a bit of a second coat just in the areas that we thought would need it, and then we left the tank for 4 days to dry as they wanted. We had to put the baffles back in, so we decided to use aluminium metal, 3mm, which we cut to size, and we decided to put in place with just bog standard pop rivets. So here are the baffle plates riveted in place. Next up was the main hatch, which was 4mm aluminium, cut to size, holes drilled every couple of inches, and deburred and cleaned. We use a tip from aviation, Clecco pliers and Cleccos. These are used to temporarily hold plates in place while you're drilling all the holes. So we put the plate temporarily in place, use the Cleccos to hold the plate, and then drill all the remaining holes. Once we've done that, we could take the plate back off again because we needed to finally clean out the tank. Final check to make sure there's nothing left in the tank, including the lights. And we decided to use these blind rivets. These are exactly the same as pop rivets or blind rivets, but they are closed end so that no water can leak through. A couple of rows of automotive gasket sealant around the plate, between the around the rivet area, and we use the pop rivets to hold the plate in place just while that's set for about an hour, and then we finish it off by properly pop riveting the rest of the rivets in the tank. A dab of sealant on each pop rivet made sure absolutely that there would be no leaks. So that was it really in a nutshell. It took about 2 weeks and were prepared by Boyong and myself. Well, I really hope this helps, and if you have a similar sort of problem, you know what to do. Thank you and bye bye.